Hello guys and girls, and welcome to today's video. Today, as you can see here on the screen, we are going to be doing a text structure, I do, you do. So throughout this video, I'm going to start by doing a couple of examples for you, and you guys are going to follow along with me. And then at the end of the video, you're going to have some questions that you're going to answer on your own. Before we get started, let's go over our learning target for today. Our learning target says I can analyze a text, so that means you can break the text down, you can decide what parts are important, what parts are not important to determine the text structure. So throughout this video today, we're going to be reading some different passages and we're going to try to figure out, using clues in the text, what the text structure is. If you need a reminder, remember that text structure just means the way that the text is organized. And over the past few days, we've talked about a few different ways that an author might organize a text. We have sequence. Remember, sequence is putting things either in order of time or the steps that you have to follow to do something. We have description. Remember, description is when you have an item and then you describe it almost like you can paint a picture, you can see it in your mind. Compare and contrast is where we tell how things are the same or how they're different. Cause and effect is telling how one thing leads to something else. And then problem and solution is when we have a problem, an issue, and then different ways that we can fix that problem. Let's go ahead and get into some examples. If we are trying to find the text structure, we have 3 steps that we're going to follow. Step number 1, you have to read the text. That's always going to be the first step. You definitely can't tell me the text structure if you haven't read it. Step number 2, we are going to look for clues in the text. So we're going to put our detective hats on today. We're going to look for those clues to try to find the text structure. Remember, as we were taking notes over the last couple of days, we highlighted some key words, so we'll be looking for those, but also maybe even just some sentences that stick out to us that let us know what the text structure is. And then step number 3, find the text structure. And just a reminder, it's always going to be one of these: sequence, description, compare and contrast, cause and effect, or problem and solution. Here is number 1. For the first few examples, I'm going to be doing them for you. You're just going to be following along with me. Remember, the first step is to read the text. So here's what it says. Ice cream is a delicious frozen treat that comes in many different colors and flavors. 2 of my favorite flavors are strawberry and chocolate. Though both of these flavors are delicious, strawberry may contain pieces of fruit, while chocolate usually will not. Even though more chocolate ice cream is sold across the country annually than strawberry, both flavors taste great inside of a milkshake. So step number 1, we read the text. Step number 2, we are going to look for some clues. We're going to see if there's anything that sticks out to us that lets us know what the text structure might be. One thing I noticed right off the bat was that it was talking about 2 different topics. We had chocolate ice cream and then we had strawberry ice cream. This sentence here also stuck out to me. Strawberry may contain pieces of fruit while chocolate usually will not. So that actually sounds like it's giving us a difference between chocolate and strawberry ice cream. And then at the very end, it tells us that both flavors taste great inside of a milkshake. So it started by telling us something that was different about them, and then it ended by telling us something that was the same about them. Step number 3, after you find your clues, you're going to figure out the text structure. So let's just review what we learned really quickly. There's 2 main topics, chocolate and strawberry ice cream. That gives us a really good clue about what this text structure might be. It tells us some ways that chocolate and strawberry ice cream are different. Strawberry contains fruit, chocolate does not. It also tells us one way that they're the same, which is both flavors taste great inside of milkshakes. And I know I'm kind of cutting off the answer here with my video, but the correct answer here is compare and contrast, because it tells us how they are the same and how they are different. Let's do another example. Freezer burn may have wasted more ice cream than sidewalks. If you don't know, freezer burn is when ice crystals form on the surface of ice cream. These ice crystals can ruin the texture and flavor of the ice cream, but you can prevent freezer burn. Since freezer burn happens when melted ice cream is refrozen, rather than eating your ice cream from the container as it melts, scoop your ice cream into a bowl and put the container back in the fridge immediately. Doing this should help you solve your problem, that word sticks out to me, with freezer burn. So we read the text. Step number 2 is to look for clues. And what really stuck out to me here, I kind of mentioned one of them already. It has the word problem in it, which might be a really good hint. But really it's these last couple of sentences. Rather than eating your ice cream from the container as it melts, scoop your ice cream into a bowl and put the container back in the fridge. Doing this should help you solve your problem with freezer burn. Now, if we break this down, it tells us that this paragraph is talking about the topic of freezer burn. And it lets us know in the last sentence that the problem is sometimes we have ice cream and it gets freezer burnt and then it doesn't taste very good. It also tells us how we can fix that problem. We can avoid freezer burn by making sure we eat out of a bowl and not out of the container. So that tells us that the text structure is problem and solution. The problem is freezer burn. The solution is to make sure you eat your ice cream out of a bowl and not straight from the container. I'm going to do one more example for you all, and then I'm going to have you guys try some on your own. Have you ever had an ice cream headache? That's when a painful sensation resonates in your head after eating something cold, usually ice cream, on a hot day. This pain is caused by the dilation of a nerve center in the roof of your mouth. The nerve center is overreacting to the cold by trying to heat your brain. Ice cream headaches have turned many smiles to frowns. So remember, step number 1, always read the text. Step number 2, we're going to look for some clues. I actually want to talk about this second clue first because there's a word that should have popped out as I was reading this. This pain is caused by the dilation of a nerve center in the roof of your mouth. So here's our cause. There's pain that it's caused by the dilation of a nerve center in the roof of your mouth. The effect of that dilation is an ice cream headache or a brain freeze. So if we break this down, remember, big clue here, it has the word caused. It tells us that the dilation of that nerve center causes an ice cream headache. So the text structure here is cause and effect. All right, I have one that I want you guys to try on your own. Remember, step number 1 is to always read the text. It was the most beautiful banana split that I had ever seen. In the middle of the bowl, there were 3 scoops of ice cream, chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla. On top of the ice cream were a banana and a thick web of chocolate and caramel sauces. A huge puff of whipped cream covered the sauces, and a handful of crushed nuts dappled the whipped cream. On top of it all was a bright red cherry. I like this passage because when I close my eyes, I can picture that ice cream in my head. Okay, step number 2 here is to look for the clues. I have a question here in just a second. It's going to pop up over on the side of the screen for you to answer, but let's look at the question together. It says, which of the following gives a clue about the text structure of this passage? Choice A, in the middle of the bowl there were 3 scoops of ice cream. Choice B, on top of the ice cream were a banana and a thick web of chocolate and caramel sauces. Choice C, a huge puff of whipped cream covered the sauces. Or choice D, all of the above. Which one of these do you think gives us a clue about what the text structure might be? Go ahead and answer that question now. Okay, so hopefully you know some of the clues now, and we've read the text, so remember step number 3 is to find the text structure. And one thing that I like to do if I'm not 100% sure is I like to use process of elimination. So I look at my choices here, and I see if there are any that I can automatically get rid of. So let's review really quickly what these are. Sequence, is it telling us the order that things happen? What happened first, what happened second, what happened third? Description, is it describing something to us? Is it telling us what it looks like, what it tastes like? Can we picture it in our mind? Compare and contrast, is it telling us how 2 things are the same or how they're different? Cause and effect, is it telling us how one thing leads to something else? Or is it problem and solution? Is it telling us a problem and then giving us ways to fix that problem? Right now, go ahead and tell what text structure you think this is. The text structure here is description, and the reason we know it's description is because this entire paragraph is telling us lots of details about this banana split. It's telling us what's in it, chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla. It's describing the sauces, and it tells us there's a bright red cherry on top. We can picture this banana split in our brain, so the text structure is description. And if we go back to this previous question about the clues, all of these were clues because they were all describing the banana split. Okay, we're going to do one more. You're going to try this one on your own. Making ice cream is not easy. First, cream and sugar have to be mixed in a frozen container. Ingredients may be added at this point if desired. Next, the mixture must be stirred and whipped until the ice cream and sugar mixture is frozen. Depending on the equipment, this may take as long as an hour. After the ice cream is prepared, it must be kept frozen until it is ready to be served. Making ice cream is difficult, but most people would agree that it is worth the trouble. Step number 2, we are looking for clues. I want you guys to tell me which of the following gives a clue about the text structure of this passage. Is it A, making ice cream is not easy, B, first, next, after, C, it must be kept frozen, or D, most people would agree that? Go ahead and answer this question. Okay, let's see if we can figure out what the text structure is. Remember, sequence, is it telling us the steps to follow to do something? Description, is it giving us lots of details so that we can picture it in our mind? Compare and contrast, is it telling how things are the same or different? Cause and effect, is it telling us how one thing leads to something else? Or is it problem and solution? Is it telling us an issue and then telling us how we can fix that issue? Go ahead and choose your answer now. The text structure being used here is sequence. We know that because it is telling us the steps to follow to make ice cream. Hopefully you saw these key words, first, next, and after, and hopefully that revealed to you what the text structure was. All right, guys and girls, that is going to do it for today's lesson. Thank you so much for watching. We are going to continue to talk about text structure in the future, but for now, we will see you next time.